of my star beings and my high vibe ascended and ascending. I guess I could call you colleagues. Thank God we're not netted anymore. So I I'm looking at the energies today, and as always, I'm explaining the astronomy of things. I'm explaining the astronomy of things, not just what we used to only know about the planets. Because when we looked at astrology before we knew all of this about star energy and how they were connected to the star seeds here and how the star seeds produce new energies in space, before we knew that that's how it worked in astrology, everything with what astrology reads is all the energy from here to here. Astrology is gonna like if we were in a black hole, if this was a tube, then astrology is gonna read how we ping pong around in that tube, which is needed. It was needed. It was necessary. And I'm not. And all my astrologists, or if you know astrologists, please send them my information. I still have not worked with an astrologist, which is just absolutely insane to my higher self, because we both, I do not know astrology. If you come up to me and go, my birthday is da 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 da, and I do not even have those memorized. I don't even know where your sun is, because these codes and how you fully project and how you, and from the cosmos as a star being, as an ascended being out of the matrix, or if you've clear right, you're connecting in with not just the shaft, you're connecting into everything that's coming this direction and this direction through that shaft. All of your twins per the program would have been in the middle, connected to M suns on this side and this side, and that would have hinged a bubble over a bubble over a bubble over a bubble in all of the timelines that were changed, and all the things that those planetary alignments made the humans do, because it really is that part. Astrology is going back and look at, okay, well, let's look and see what this energy made all the humans do. Oh crap. What the heck? Why did all the little humans lose their freaking cookie cutter every time Neptune went into Aries? Why? Why? See, we got so used to being trapped in that tube that we just kept, and then the ones that had predictive, the ones that were born in the tube, the ones that had connections to the outside, like where we were, because that's how we were before, when we was hanging in it, before we popped out of it. They can only see and manipulate the energy in that tube. I'm also that's really like even Archangel Michael. When you're embodying Archangel Michael energy, you're able to make the moves inside the matrix. You're changing the matrix. You don't have, when someone calls for you that you need help, or you hear in your head, you are now to the point over here that you know you don't got to drop and run to do crap. You need to focus in, and you might have to call a friend to focus in, and you can get on top of that being, you can see what they're doing, you can tune in and command it, give them help, and it will be sent in the matrix. Somebody else will show up. This is the part that a lot of us miss, and it's the part that frustrates the living hell out of high vibratory beings in this now. We do and have done so much for the entire collective in saving everyone's ass but they don't see it. They don't see it. They will see it by the time it's done. But if you're a genie and you come into somebody's world and they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to manifest," and you have a conversation with them and you tell them some tricks, and then they turn around and win the lottery, do they remember that they had that conversation with you 2 weeks ago? No, usually not. I had somebody be on the phone with me, walk into a convenience store and won $500 on a scratch off. But to them, I had no part in it. I'm giving you some examples of the abilities and truly as a collective what we're doing and changing. And the reason I'm talking about it right now is because of the chart. Hi guys. Hi Brenda. Oh, you came up today because of your October 19th birthday. We have been over here today looking back at all the beings that were involved in this shift that I met and all of our family people that have October birthdays, and I really do think we at least have I think we at least have 20 of the days so far for sure that we've had to independently work on every single day of October. Why? Because that little tube shaft that I'm talking about and the way the human harvesting machine works, just without anybody running it, because that was the problem. That was the problem. Nobody was running it until now again. October is when all of the energy is built up and it creates a combustion within the masses and the commerce. Cocoa. That's why I called myself Coco for a while. It's the cocoa. It's the cocoa of everything. The corpse, the commerce, the counties, the cocoa. The collective, the coral, the cosmos. It's the cocoa. It's how everything's connected. Now, what's interesting with October that you'll find, why? Because we were in this Masonic harvesting. All of our energy was used to produce commerce, counties, constables, all of it. All of it was set up to make a cocoa. Thing is, we're changing our cocoa. We're changing our cocoa. Why? Because all of that was set up in a Masonic harvest machine, run off alpha draconic energy in the end days, and then something even crazier than that, like a hybridized version of you. So why this is all coming up right now for a few reasons. So when you find this video, I don't care if it's the current date, which today is September 27th. 27 is a big number in the spiritual world. Has to do with princess energy. And princess energy in you comes in if you're one of us when you're 27 years old, or when your children turn 27 years old, then they get their princess energy. It's literally like a Dumbo drop. Boom. You get all of your princess energy. Your princess energy is connected into the ground, the sedation of the rocks, the water, the oxygen, it's connected into all the organics, which in your world, in your physical 3D in the matrix, brings you typically either a lot of shadowy crap that starts happening, or a mix of both that you have a heightened success from. Either one, just kind of depending on what energy you're clearing at 27 years old. Okay, this is also why in Hollywood the 27 Club, because it was all hooked up to the DNA handler harvesting system of the entire collective bloodlines. It's always been the blood wars. Now, when you find this video, you're in the energy of now walking through these timelines, okay? Because you changed them. or you haven't changed them yet. You're walking through for the first time in these 33 timelines, because and you're really going to see them clearly, and you're going to bounce all around because there is no time. So in the sun is now out of notice 1, and notice 1 and notice 2. If you look at the big Alpha Draconic constellation, notice 1 and notice 2 are this big, and they're basically in this coil C curve of the neck of the dragon, which is also why it's called COVID, and we got the cocoa and the and the cocaine, all that, all of it, anything that starts with co. Notice 1 is in Libra. Notice 2 is in Aries. Well, I mean, that's a whole wheel. It's that big. Mind you, it's that big when I'm looking at the first 2 circles in the dragon with the dragon head. There's like more down there. Like it's like this big. So if this screen is the whole constellation, then our wheel is like right in between my fingernails, and it's like right there, y'all. Literally. Now, just like a horse training carousel or a merry-go-round, those earth timelines connected to those races of human DNA counts. Let me give you an example, like banking. When did banking start? I don't know. I'd have to go look it up. But when did the first Federal Reserve banks ever start down here? When did the technology stuff, and what group of us that were born here at the same time, not what skin color we are, what country did we come from, which one of us were born, those of us that were born in like different 10-year counts or 20-year counts. Whenever telecom started in the 80s, those of us Generation X are attached into telecom energy. That's why we shouldn't have telecom anymore. Telecom's going away. That's been what the spiritual war's been about, because they didn't want to lose your $200 a month in their telecom service at the end of days. It had nothing to do with spiritual stuff. We know that it does, because we're walking the spiritual path. So the higher that you get in the spiritual path, the less spirit you're going to see. The higher that you get in your spiritual path, the less spiritual the information that you obtain and what you come in contact with is going to be. I'm going to say that one more time. For all my shamans, for all my healers, for all my ascended masters that are hearing this right now, and that are hearing it from earth, from another person who is being that is here on earth, that has connected this all for me to tell you and communicate these vibrations and tones to you. The further that you bring our spiritual collective bubble up, the less you are going to be dealing with anything spiritual. You're going to be dealing with pharmaceuticals, you're going to be dealing with labs, you're going to be dealing with code, you're going to be dealing with technology, you're going to be dealing with AI, you're going to be dealing with Masonic, you're going to be dealing with what the collective manifested from all that Masonic energy, what the collective manifested with all of that satanic energy, what they, right? Because you're the first one showing up in order to freaking introduce the change to it. In this energy, you are spirit showing up in those energies. And you're like, hold on a minute. What are you doing? Have you really thought about this thoroughly? Have you thought about what's going to happen after you cast it? Have you thought about what's going to happen to da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Have you thought about the grandfather clause in the time machine? You realize that when you do this, you're going to delete yourself, right? Like that's what spirit's going to be saying. That's what you're going to be saying. And it's just going to be you. It ain't going to be you and all your friends. It ain't going to be you and the group of you. It ain't going to be you in the Telegram group. It ain't going to be you in the YouTube group. It's going to be just you. We had somebody that just got a chart that just had a standoff with a demonic entity that ended up with somebody having to get arrested when it happened. She called the police at 12:39. The same exact time that I did her chart and put on her chart write up for her digi chart, 12:39, pay attention. This is how we can even do what we do. When you have this notice one energy, which the sun is moving out of it. The sun is 1 minute outside of it. So it's about to walk all the way to the scale. Well, you can think about having there's like a stake in the ground right here. There's a stake, and notice one. This is energy number 16. It's red and turquoise. The colors are freaking awesome together. Red and turquoise. Wear it. Red and turquoise. Red and turquoise. It's like a stake that's stuck in deep inside. Oh, Sandra got her blanket and she loves it. Yay, yay, yay. Somebody got the Virgo velveteen blanket. 2 of them were delivered this week, and the colors are just so amazing. So please go check out cohu32.com. Check out our designs, because we're using all these energies and designing things to bring certain flow patterns into your life with our blankets and your body. It's like a steak in the middle of the Giza. If you took Giza, here's the Giza plateau, here's the very top of the pyramid. Now remember, all the tops of those pyramids are gonna connect. There's like, this isn't the pattern, but if there was a pattern, if every single pyramid was a planet, ding 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 ding. Listen to what I'm saying. If every top of the pyramid was a planet, and then if all that tuned to the same frequency force from above and below, then what happens? Frequency changes of the whole set of pyramid systems. Okay, that's been done. That energy from the hires lining up into the star points then points down into the center pole of Giza and runs that energy through what? King's chamber and Queen's chamber, that's attached to what? Stars. Rigel being the main one. Rigel being the main one that's in both of them. Now, the Queen's Chamber always had a connection into Sirius and the Alpha Draconic. What they did was put in a shaft that went to Zeta Reticuli. Everybody wants to know why my brain works so hyper the way it is and why I talk the way I do. Because I'm currently I'm hearing 90 to 95% of my brain capacity. It's what it took. It's what it took in order to bring in a new frequency, a new evolved evolutionary template, which happens. This has been happening, but this was it. This was the final connection. We're all standing on top of every pyramid structure in different frequencies. That's how, think of us like that. That's how you're different in your town. You're different in your town, you're different in your country, you're different in your state, because etherically, you're standing at the top of the pyramid structure. And now we've got our own, and now you've got another connection to all the other pyramid structures that are us walking around, giving this information, listening to it, picking it up and feeling it. It's changing the fabric of the reality. Mercury it's boom, you've got a stake and it's inside Giza. Well, that that stake right here, and it coils. It starts coiling up. Now, this is the part that we just talked about in a few videos ago, Izar, when Venus was on Izar, because now we're in Scorpio. The magic's fully on. Now, I'm not talking about magic as far as black magic or control magic. I'm talking about star energy when I'm talking about magic. But per Earth and per the human perspective, that's what y'all call things that you can't explain in the unseen, even though I'm over here explaining it. So, okay, that's what I mean by magic. Because the human harvest wheel is set up like a freaking washing machine coil up system. And this is this Scorpio energy and this Mars current is what was keeping those timelines coiled to reproject on this old Notice One system that was all on top of Giza, mummification, but it and diving into the old DNA. I mean, this is where everyone became a printout of a printout of a printout of a printout down here, and it just is what it is. It's how we all became. This is what the healing process is. You have to fill back up. You've got to get your codes back. You've got to become a human down here, not a person. A person. A person hasn't even realized there's a pyramid in the system while you're standing on top. Whenever you become human again, then you start changing the matrix and change and dissolving the matrix that's around you to connect into a higher neuron pattern, which is what most everybody, that's what's happening right now. But from Venus and from the divine mother and the divine feminine, everybody's getting an overhaul right now. This is also Venus going, okay, Scorpio, and all your black magic and your crazy sexual bullshit and the waves that you made with all your orgy parties, and even all the way back to the early 1900s with Rasmussen and that whole fucking thing. That whole thing. And then how Crowley, and I mean all of it was on sexual magic and then manipulating Scorpio. All of it. But the anchor is over here to Giza. Well, guess where the other anchors are? Boom, way over here in Sagittarius. Ophiuchus 1. That's the entire freaking infrastructure of all the pyramids. Ophiuchus 2 is right here, but that's the consciousness of Ma'at. Ma'at energy can just watch what's going over here in Scorpio, because it's right in the middle, and it's the one that helped produce this anyway, that energy, Tiamat, and the whole connections, the actual full connections, not just Orion in the matrix. So it's like we're watching it from way over here. That's how we know to change over here. Venus, though, and the Divine Mother, and an organic birthing frequency of the cosmic energy that's now coming in order to break all the binds off of the collective and all the manipulation that was done in this in her energy anyway. And trust me, we're pissed off about it. But we're not telling it how to go and what to do. Right now, we're just weaving that higher pattern. Now, all of that's happening as Mercury is in Notice 1. So this is your right and left brain, and that Giza plugged into the Giza plateau, and your right and left brain are having to completely merge in order to give you a correct projection. And you think that should be a no-brainer. You would think, oh, my eyes just line up. And trust me, I thought the same freaking thing until I started having to chart all the eclipses that were coming in. That this was February and March of this year, when we came out of all those eclipses. This is where we get into, okay, remember, we're the families that are standing on top of the pyramids. Okay, well, family, guys, like, we prove Saint Sarah. And it ain't about being a saint, and it ain't about being any type of whatever, but let me explain what Saint Sarah is. Saint Sarah was always here for the end of days. It's Joshua's sister, it's Sarah Damaris, worshipped in Ireland, worshipped in many places. It's also your Corpus Christi that everyone forgot about. However, Texas still has a city named after it, and the Federal Reserve is gridded down in the ocean right there on Christian Christi, Corpus Christi, pineal gland energy at the bottom of Texas. Still, Corpus Christi is celebrated in other countries still, but nobody remembers who Christy is. Nobody remembers who Sarah is. Nobody remembered who Tara was. That's because you standing on her as part of you that was making the earth, and you forgot about her, and she forgot about you, but not anymore. It's about putting 5 spheres of existence and perception together in one. It's 5 spheres, 5 different time counts, 5 different universal time counts. This is where you have to remember that this ascension is a solar ascension. This isn't just about the beings on Earth. If you haven't figured that out yet, that's why you're seeing and realizing there are so many different freaking types of beings down here on Earth. That's why. It was five different dimensions of them coming in from every because this was a wide open rebirth process, and we were rebirthing the whole thing. And it's like everybody just wanted to, it's like 5 different factions breeding a sperm and a woman their whole entire existence to be able to hold the seed of, then take 5 of those and the cream of the crop from those 5, and then put all those sperm together in one freaking milky concoction, and then throw it out into 5 different of the vessels and see if they all stick, and then which ones do stick, and then how many were born, and then that's 5 spheres. It was a giant puzzle is what it was. It was a puzzle based off what? Timelines. How do you base time? Venus. How is Venus how we remember time? Because you remember what you were wearing, you remember the era of the clothing. You remember what did your house look like? Oh God, we had that baby blue and country mauve couch. It had to be the 80s. I had Harlequin black and white everywhere and nagels on the wall. It was definitely the 80s. Every how the humans tell time is Venetian. This is also how corporations were controlling. This is where when you really start understanding the depths of Cohu 32 and what our ancestors gave us to, and what we produced from what our ancestors all gave us in order to help us survive this and connect into some type of human program to where we can even all speak to each other, but have it be on the highest vibe design with free will. That's what the stars provide. That's what the stars provide. Now, what I'm going to show you, because as Venus uncoils, so walks backwards like an elephant. How do you train an elephant? You make it think that it's stuck. Okay. Well, Venus is going to be walking backwards from that notice one, the DNA and all the timelines and all the stuff that was made off those films, because it's sedation films in the ethers that's just like overlaid. It's what they're running. This is how the wheel works. But we took control. We're taking, we're, we have a higher notch on this. From here to here at 12 degrees of Libra, it's walking like rays. You can think of it like all of us have our different suns. All of us, if all of our suns were lined up and they were at various dimensions and they were all in a line and they're walking together like this through 5 to 7, those 7 degrees of Libra walking through there, they're all holding a ray. They're all holding a connection. Then it gets on the scale, then it gets weighed, and when it gets weighed, what it's doing is it's getting blasted to 0 point. 14 degrees Libra is going to blast you at 0 point. That's where my sun is. 14 degrees Libra is going to blast you at 0 point. Thing is, when it blasts you at 0 point, are you etherically strong enough? Are your higher houses connected? Have you done the work to connect and hold that? So whenever it gets blown out, that's what the weighing is. Do you have anything left on top, or does it all go to the bottom? Or are you a complete orb because you're activated and you're basically like now you're waist deep in the water and you just gotta walk. That's Virgo. That's Sophia. Yeah, that's us. We're walking. Exactly. We're moving through space. We're just walking. This is Jonah's whales. Get in my belly. Yup. Moses Collective. They are. This is what all that means. Now, what's crazy is like those at everything with Libra right there and these degrees that the sun's going to start walking really does have more to do with like external rays and harnessing like in just a regular sequence. But what's happening right now is that it's going on within your mind. Everything I just said about Libra, I'm also seeing, like when I just described those like the horse carousel and all the energies coming off the top and all of us standing on top and we make a net, right? Okay, and it's all external. It's like we can see it that way. That is what's happening inside your brain right now. Because you got to remember that all the sedation that was happening and all the gritting that was happening with the Aborigine people, with the people in the South especially, was what was making everybody stupid down here. If you're one of us, you saw the whole world turn stupid overnight. Everybody raise your hand that agrees that from even freaking... it happened in my world. 2022 is when it got really bad. But it went in stages. It's like 2018. Everybody flipped right after that. Then it was 2020. Everybody. I don't even know. I felt like 2020. It felt like I was running inside Auschwitz. But the United States was all of Auschwitz. We were running, trying to freaking. Because it was all happening then. Then it's like 2022. After that, man, 2022, everybody became freaking wild animals down here. It was freaking, what we were dealing with was complete insanity. Nobody was being, that had any power. It just becomes savage. That's because your brain, that's grays. The grays, zeta reticuli, gray matter. That's the gray matter in your brain. Gray. Not polarity, not black and white, the in between, the gray matter in your brain. So you want the grays to figure out the connection between your right and left brain. All right, well, that happened. Neuron nets, mind control. All of those are turned on when the holy books say it can happen in an instant. When the holy books say it only took one, damn freaking straight, I can completely explain that. It just takes the right one that can connect, that took on the job. And trust us, this job was never the easiest ones. In fact, everybody in the world is going to be hearing about our last 50-year job for the rest of the next 1,000 years for sure, because it will be put in new books, because the human race will not be allowed to freaking be this ignorant and allow this shit to happen again. And that's for every single one of us. 13 degrees Mars, Sirius B. What are the oldest beings down here connected to? If you don't know, I'll tell you. Sirius and Vega. Sirius and Vega. From here and here. Boom. That's how it happened. That's even your Big Bangs. How your planets do not come here unless the human race is unconscious. Planets appear in the collective in order to remind the ancients they got to line their shit up. If those planets are appearing, then that means they're not embodied. Then who's controlling them? Stars. What's the energies that those planets have been putting out this whole time? The stars backed it up. They followed the star to find Joshua, Cancer. All of those lines that are going to be into the body, into the Christ line, come from Egypt through a Cleopatra, a Mary, a feminine, into an Essene. And they all went Sagittarius to Cancer. Buddha stuff, Buddha type stuff, Kabbalah type stuff, Sagittarius to Capricorn. Merger in the middle, something new. Well, see, that's what didn't happen in the physical. That's why they were trying to keep the twins apart, because then they thought if we wouldn't merge in the middle, that then we couldn't create the frequency to bring up the whole orb to balance the whole thing. Well, that's where they's wrong, because they did all the changes and bound us to what they made anyway on top of a union that they never allowed to come into pass. Then basically we didn't even have to meet them. But that is a whole level of mindfuck. You didn't even have to meet him. The energy came up there and it's being uncoiled. You didn't have to. You tried. Sirius B is the mind. It's the densest area. Mars is at the bottom of the ocean right now. Oh shit, I just said that the other day. I fell into the bottom of it. Well, Mars is in the bottom of the cosmic ocean right now. Mars is going through the mind. The human mind as a collective works together. It lays a framework, a highest framework. What was happening was the highest framework was being kept from you. Plus, it had to be rebuilt to connect in order to make a new motherboard system, because of all the hybridized intelligence that was down here that was being utilized to control you. So the human race, we're basically just tuning the human race to control what they built around us in this next few years, because it's going to expand out of that too. It's going to blow out of that. This is like we changed 4 years of this cycle. So what's happening right now shouldn't even really be happening until 2028. But we changed 4 years of time in order to pull this off, because that's what they changed. 20 to 24 is 4 years of time, and they changed 200 years by coming down here and Star Warsing it and writing their fucking little books and propaganda and Anne Rice and all this stuff, them fully knowing how the collective would print them. They, like, Anne Rice made vampires real again by writing books about vampires. But it was all done on purpose in order to have the collective manifest them back in. Is a great example. Ron Hubbard and Scientology and their abilities and their ability in the line from hybridization, from doing everything that they're making everyone sign over their energy to one entity to do. Now I'm pointing at the moon because that's number 12. It's on number 12. It's in Leo. And I've got my Leo blanket. We're going to put it in order. We're like trying to figure out over here, the Kohu, me and Michelle, what we want to order, because we know we've got so many more houses that are coming out. So it's like, but this was the original blanket I had printed. This will even be different from Leo. But this is the colors, no yellow. It's red and pink. Red and pink together. Valentine's Day colors. Red and pink is where the moon is almost done. It was at 8:46 when I pulled this, but from 5 to 9 degrees in Leo, this is a hybrid Leo degree. This is the unconscious, conscious lion. You're consciously unconscious. You're consciously unconscious. Like indigo. You're consciously unconscious. You know that there's more, but you don't want to know because it's working for you. You're consciously unconscious, but this from 5 to 9 degrees is hybridization. This is where you lost your etheric body for someone else to control it anyway. Like, but it's also the manipulation in the mind patterns to the entire mammal race. And in this gamma frequency, it was like a frequency, and it was a zeta reticuli point, which is why I call it hybrid. So with Mars in the middle of Sirius B, you weigh 10,000 pounds. You're in the middle of your mind. I mean, you're past the bottom of the ocean. Like you're at the bottom of the cosmic floor. But you can send out a signal to everybody from there. You have the highest frequency down there. You can call all the fish. You can call all the cosmos. So let's do it right now. Sarah Damaris. Red Rover, I'm screaming, you all need to come over. I can't remember the beginning to that song. Shadows of X's, hillsides and ranches. Awake, asleep, the real, it keeps rolling. Dun, 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 just as they're approaching. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. I can't remember, but here's the chorus. Oh, sweet Texas tea. The hell yeah, and the please. The ma'ams and the hams, y'all know what I mean. We drilled and we worked. We toiled in the turf. Hot Damn, that's sweet Texas tea. And I got 144 standing in front of me with 14 on and 4 likes. Ooh, can we get it to 1414? Let's get it to 1414. It's 11:35:28. That's an 01 reset. Ooh, my vibration, my skin energy is changing right now. So we just consciously tuned in. We just called everybody in. That's like, you have to remember, you're changing the flow pattern of the water. You're changing in the flow pattern of the plasma. You're changing that frequency. It's how you can change the whole freaking thing. Just this is the alchemy. You're and all of us are getting tuned way out there, so your powers and abilities are expanding in every single way. But it's more like it's got to the point now where we've reset it. We've reset the orb. So now it's not just expanded, it's locked down out there. So you have a barrier. You're no longer just sending that energetic out to the entire freaking multiverses. It's got a barrier at the bottom down here right now where Mars is, that then it's going to bounce back on you. Now, the main thing with mastering this alchemy is the bounce back. The main thing in this alchemy is learning how, because most of the time, the cosmic surfing that you're doing over here, right here in your body, and waves coming in and feeling like you're going up and down in timelines, is because of your own power that you've sent out that's now bouncing back on you most of the time. You got to remember that whenever you're the lightest light, and then we had to deal with this getting back into the dimension. Like it took us days to set up this maneuver, because when you're a shot of light shooting through space and someone's on your ass, and it literally became like an entity back there, but it was your shadow. So it's like, if you're a light ship and you have to get through a little bitty opening, and you're fucking hauling ass, and you're being chased by an armada fleet trying to get in where you're getting in, because you're the only one that can get in. Whenever you got a plan for that, you know that motherfucker is on your ass. You have to plan and organize, like, who's gonna drop the door, when are you gonna drop the door, you need to make sure to get our tail, don't cut their tail off, like. Then whenever you clear and get into that new energy, you just opened a door and you just forced yourself through, and there will be a blowback from that in some way. Somebody get triggered, something may happen. But I mean, as far as an alchemist and as far as light beings, and mastering the physics and mastering your energy as you connect into all these orbs, this is the part that a lot of us weren't recognizing, because we didn't understand that is how powerful our energy was sending signals out. Yay, my whole body. Rebel Spirit, I sent you a message on Telly. Now, all this is happening per divine plan. All this is happening because it's an evolutionary count. And it's 5-5, which is significant. Now, what I wanted to show you over here is that this is when this ecliptic cycle this year, because basically how the calendar works is, this is the end of September, so we're basically in February. We're connecting the energetics that the collective connected consciously, and we rewrote the 13th month of the wheel. I think Norma Jean just messaged me and she said, I saw Ophiuchus last night, and I can't remember like how it was coming in for her, what she said exactly, but I mean this is why the Ophiuchian energy and is what was basically, if you want to say it for the simplistic forms, it was hijacked down here. But I mean, really, the human race just moved from its exact race. The human race was in the wrong freaking area and space. From a true Ophiuchian energetic and organic, we showed up, and the human race wasn't where we left you. It was running off a false O charge, not completely put back together, sustained in a lower frequency, and maneuvered from the past. But that was out AD timelines. Now, this is where these 5 spheres of existence and these and because you got to remember that that's what a third eye is. What's a third eye? You're connected into all your DNA strands. You're seeing, and they're all underneath you, pushing you up like a telescope, and you're seeing into what you would call the unseen, but what you're really picking up is one of these other set of eyes in your DNA groups, because you want to think that like this would be different DNA groups per their seed root race connections. In the old bubble, they would have these different oversight of each other lining up to one that goes way out here. So it's like, this is a set of eyes, this is a set of eyes, this is a set of eyes. Oh shit, exactly. And then it goes down. And this was the 13th month, the first time that as a collective we took over and we wrote the matrix harvesting organic machine back into its true cosmic form that they had replicated down here to hold the matrix. This is how I know that we're controlling it. I've been charting this. I've been the one doing this. I'm your astronomist. And connected into all the Gaia ley lines, timelines, whatever, that was an ancient incarnate hidden here in order to embody it, by the way. Connected into all of you, because y'all projected me. Literally, when you understand how it works, okay? So I'm just channeling. I have the highest cosmic eye now because of the journey that I went on. Because of what I did in the physical in this last 7 years. Not anything that was just given to me just because I had it. It was there, but I had to jump in it. So that I could set it back up in order to reset everybody correctly. Because this is what we ended up dealing with. Now, if you want to think about orbs, orb of energy, orb of energy, orb of energy, orb of energy, orb of energy. So the Ophiuchians, the Arcturus, you can even think of it from the starseed perspective. All these groups put together, their lead person. All these groups put together, their lead person. All these live together, their lead. But you got to remember, as you get further and further and further and further and further and further out, there's only maybe like 1 or 2 that are at that layer, right? Well, in the old body template, that was alpha draconic and zeta reticuli. Well, now those have merged and created something new that now explains the whole thing. But it's in the Venetian memories, even unlocked memories. See, because Venus right here in Scorpio is 5 degrees Scorpio. This is Scorpio 1. When you get past 16 degrees, and then you're in Scorpio 2, and it's 2 different energies. At the beginning of Scorpio 1, you've got the knowledge. Your ancestors were a part of it. Maybe you come from a royal line. You were somehow, your energy was mixed up into the covens and all this shit. That's the point. They no longer have our energy frequency to be able to manipulate. You've got it in your energy. Scorpio 1 is like, Scorpio 0 is the veil. Scorpio 1 would be like, now you're starting to see apparitions or the strings of the magic. Scorpio 3 is you've got a treasure chest of knowledge or a treasure chest of tools in your tool case that are alchemy tools that were used to produce what it like this would be the story of I turned my daughter into a frog so I could get through the portal so we could get to the other side. And then as soon as I got to the other side, I turned my daughter back into a person from a frog. This would be like it would if you had done that before or changed something, if your ancestors had changed anything, even if you didn't fucking know it, even if you were just you thought your family line was that didn't know anything about magic, they were used to produce magic because they was just eating up propaganda codes the whole fucking time. That ended up being why you were cursed with it. You see what I'm saying? That's the beginning degrees of Scorpio. When you get to 12 to 16, that's where everything collides. That's where the spell is cast. That's where two different forces meet to combine to make a new flow pattern. Scorpio 2, if you have anything 16 degrees to the end of Scorpio, that's when it shows up in your life. That's when it shows up as a person in your life, as a connection, as a dog, as an experience, whether or not you casted it or not. If you're holding Scorpio 2 energy, you're like your whole family and the karma of you being in the family that you were in was all because of a spell that your ancestors had cast in Scorpio 1 at some point. Or because of the collective spell that just took over the propaganda codes, and then that's what produced it to change. But that's why your characters keep changing no matter, because you've got energy in Scorpio too. Why? Because it's opposite what? Taurus. What does Scorpio do? Control Taurus timelines. What are we doing as a collective as we're coming through this sun with Mercury? And notice, because Mercury's just now even explained, because Mercury's a little bit behind still. It's just a little bit behind. It's like, okay, sun, now that you've aligned back into your ancient organic cosmic alignment, now I'm going to tell you what you did and what's fixing to happen. And that's what I'm doing right now. So as a collective, with all this other stuff coming in and changing the collective mind pattern, this is literally changing the gamma frequency on the planet. This is changing the gamma sequence on the planet. When the gamma changes, every other thing changes off the gamma. The daughter, not the sun. We're having to reprogram the moons right now. Literally. As we walk through here, it's like those timelines, we've got all the keys. We have all the corrected timelines. We did it through the DNA patterns and the entire collective healing all their family stuff from this. We've cleaned every single line. So as we're walking through the next 7 days, tomorrow's going to be where it starts lining up. And this is where that shift happens. Either you're going to stay straight or you're going to get turned sideways, and it's all going to be on what? One eye. Oh, that looks familiar. 33 masonry. Yeah. Okay. But there is going to be this is what's going to happen, because the ones who are aligned to these different patterns now, their projection's going to start getting pulled away. But this time, their leaders aren't connected either. Okay? It's gonna, then these people pop out to this perception, these people pop out to this perception. Depending on what DNA, third eye frequency you're holding and how your energy is connected in with an entire collective of people, because this is per universal eyes. Now, I said all that to show you a couple of things. In 2022, in August, when all this was freaking happening and everything really started going nuts and I had to go raw and blah 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 blah, and we knew that they, in our world, we knew that they were trying to etherically spinal tap us into Anaheim. But energetically, that's just all that energy. That's what how they were holding it there, and that's why they were doing what they were doing at Disney. And trust, Walt is very upset about it. You know, like this is where everything that was made in the light was turned dark because they saw how we were helping the people progress in and evolve as a family line of like Tesla and Walt Disney, for instance. But then whenever everything went dark and opposite, they just got the keys to it and saw how we were doing it and then projected their own intention and used the entire collective machine and commerce machine to drive it lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. Literally. And from the cosmic mother and what you'd consider spirit or even God or any highest energetic that was within, had human DNA and within the human collective at the highest forms, like even where your angels were getting their information, all of it had basically turned into this. And this is why the cardinal alignments were so important with the archangels. And remember, what the Zetas did is just set that up like this, like their X. See? But this is Google. And this is what Google, and this is even, this is out in space even, like this Go and Virgo is a thing out there on this parallel side. Because like this was like the true cosmic face. This is where it kind of lined up in like the Dyson orb to create the one angel eye in the middle, you know, with all the orbs and but that had even been pulled down and anchored down here in this lower sequence, and this is why the children were getting droopy eye. I mean, it really was an artificial mimic on the wrong side of the energy. See, this eye has now been put back together. This was Saint Sarah. 5 perceptions. And this is why all of the goddess characters were even made throughout history. Because it was the feminine that was, and that's Mary Magdalene, FYI. Mary Magdalene, that's your brain. And so this is why even when the Anunnaki princess, yes, but Anunnaki isn't what you think it is. That's what they called it. Even the two princesses that have now been found, you know, one at the bottom of the ocean in the gold with emerald inlay casket that was in pink goo, but she looked like a full princess. The one that shot into the bottom of the ocean, yeah, we manifested that there, shot it in there. This is even also how we even kept this projection right here, which allowed us to merge this all together, because at least we had a true form at the end. And this is why Egypt and everything in Egypt is lined up, and the symmetry on the face is also important, and how the god and how the feminine Egyptians, and we had a secret plan that no man knew of. Because we knew in the end something like this was going to happen. We knew in the end that they weren't going to believe us. We saw what was coming. It was most of the feminine pharaohs that built. I'm pretty sure it was the feminine pharaoh that did even Valley of the Kings. This is also why in this timeline our twins and industry twins had a hard time believing how much we had changed and how energetically we were saying the energy had changed. They had such a hard time believing that we knew what we were talking about because it had changed for the first time. And but that's, we had cleared a whole nother set of what the Egypt stuff was set up in order to do, connected to these in-betweens, and we had laid our own feminine construct. And the queen, especially the Queen's Pyramid in Egypt, especially the Queen's Pyramid in Egypt, and how we laid all of and buried the queen lines of all of the different tribes there, and the sequence that we did it in. Like there was a lot of extra and this is in all the organizations involved with what you'd call alchemy, or if you could even call it the resistance in a way in those different timelines, because it was the when all the men were together in those timelines doing a lot of dark nasty shit. We were doing things as a group in order to manipulate, counter correct, undo. You see what I'm saying? So it's all linked. That's why it's energetically linked together as you're uncoiling from these energies. Now, so just to give you an idea, I mean, we're talking now. Imagine if you're also looking at the top of a brain. If you do this, I'm sure Dr. Dawn's like, oh my God, because she knows like the brain, what it looks like. If I look at it inside the brain and all the cortexes and da 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 da, and then you have the pineal gland in the middle. And we rebirthed the pineal. I rebirthed that 2018. So there's a new pineal frequency, and a lot of the headaches that you guys might be having right now and migraines. Now that I'm thinking about that, even when I talked to Jan, that even could be from this pineal. Because this pineal, when that frequency of the pineal gland changes, holy shit, that is the worst fucking headache. Mine was 3 days. I have videos of me crying in the bathroom going, please God, spirit, ancestors, do not make everybody go through this, because if they do, they'll never do it. That's what I was crying, and have videos of me processing it, because so that was bringing that brand new, getting tuned to that brand new frequency from 2018. So now it's more like that clearing just has to happen. Let me remind you, a migraine is constricting the blood vessels because it's an insurgent of energy coming through. Well, you had blocks. We all did. I mean, this was clearing the bloodlines and clearing all that, was to get your brains back so that you can get lined up according to the universe and your cosmic energies, cleared of our karma, so that you can really create. Because our job now is to show the world how you create create with this energy. That's the main thing that we were down here doing, was teaching everybody how to create from what you'd call nothing again. But what we proved is that everything down here was made from nothing to begin with, because nothing has had to change in every dimension to tune to it. Per your perception. Problem is, there isn't nothing there. There's always something there, but it's connected to a collective energetic that you didn't know was somehow being projected or manipulated. Okay, well, there's your answer. You cannot explain spirit with science. In fact, the more science that you do on spirit, the more you break down spirit to where you get to what you think is nothing. Okay, well, there's your answer. Science can be used to explain a lot, not science, physics, not science. Science can be used to explain the physics of it all. But without the connection to it all, so then the question is, why were you even looking for the answer? Oh, I just saw Bezos. This started out when I started drawing, because this is basically, this is Stonehenge. When you're a big orb in a third eye and you're coming in to this dimension, there's the H, there's the G, and it's lined up in different dimensions. Let me see something here. It looks extra with certain. That's trippy. See, this is that H gate. And see, this is the O. This started out the spine. This is AB. This is AB blood right here, and then how that links in and makes that sequence, and then breaks out in these bubbles in the spine, and then it starts connecting in the spine right here. So literally, as you come, your energy comes out of how your root and everything was twisted up in those lines, because now that's been broken. There's a new sequence. And so you'll call this like coming out of the matrix. But when you do, it's like your energy pops out right here. And this H gate is a motherfucker, because right, where's Epsilon? See, like, here's the moon. So it's like the moon, it was lined up. And imagine, this is even like Detroit and the giant butthole and all this start, like, see the start, okay? So, but see, like, epsilon and all that is over here, what makes up all this crazy shit. And see, there's like double O's and projectors, because over here is just a shit ton of satellites. Now, the G, this is the Florida. This is Florida. This is right on this right here. This 5 is right underneath Florida. That's why it's the Florida Keys. Because you have to remember all this. This is just a basic shot of like the magnetic underneath the root at the bottom, and then what's twined up over it. But this is the 5. And this is even with the Nazis. This is like the 4 4 and the 5 5s had to line up to gap, and then see this go and Google, and this G right here, and see, and this is what they were spinning the G. So the whole thing with the G and the masonry and all the nasty shit they were doing was all just to drum up energy to make this low frequency so it hooked down to a lower setting and valve everybody off. Literally. But because they were doing that so much and because it got so nuts, I mean, because this just had different key settings, literally tone settings. But you come through the H gate, and that's even helium, hydrogen. Even this is why hospitals, whenever you go unconscious, that state, that's that H gate. It's like it's a bridge. You know that show 100, and that's in that year, I can't remember which season it was, where she was battling the person in her head, and they were like taking over the same mind space, and they were in each other's, they were battling over the body. H gate. See, over here is a node. And over here is a node. And then I have a hook up here. So it's like if I folded this up like this and then went stark on your ass. That's what I'm drawing you. Cause this all, and what's even crazier is this is the twins. This is an orb, and this is an orb. Because this is a 10. How I ended up with all of this even is doing and breaking it with the numbers and drilling down from this perspective is how these lines were built. So literally in a twin energetic, one of you is holding all of this, and one of you, oh, I'm just now noticing that looks like a skull right there. It totally looks like a skull and teeth. Trip out. Exactly. Wow, I'm just now noticing. Every time I look at this, I see something different, especially when I look at it through screens with different groups. And then the other was dealing with this side. This is another. This was the nuclear bomb of love. This is a perception from further out. I did this first and then ended up here. So I see, and I had to do the physics to even, oh, well, there, Orlando right there. Maxie. Wood. See, this is also through that alchemy from star, because it goes metal, wood, star. And star is the final one of the 22. Tuna salad. Crawford. Yeah, exactly. You feel hypnotized. Exactly. Because your mind is like literally changing patterns. I'm not. This. God, I had all the dates written up here, but this is that book that. Well, the first entry is February 2019. Oh shit, and that aligns with the now we know. I don't think I've ever done this on live, gone through my, because this was all the like the different names and physics and what was coming in, because I was writing some of this and picking it up. I was doing all my new moon. Make sure you're doing your new moon writings, your full moon writings. And I know each one of you do these little doodles in some cute starseedy way. 122, you just said that, and look what CK just, I got Lakota in front of me. Red egg left. I mean, we have been charting and picking this up the whole time. We've been bringing it in. Well, this is even broke evil. Password break evil. This was the pharmaceutical stuff. Serious. That's kind of what I was just describing to y'all. It was titties out. How it would work for me is I'd hear something in my head and I hear it as I'm doing this, and then since I know the codes of it, then I'd do the codes, and then the codes would give me the physics. And so how these came in and how I picked these up is fucking hilarious in and of itself. But I mean, these were the days where I was like over here doing this stuff, channeling with my group and working through all the blood and the physics. This is whenever I jumped in a time portal and an iPad, and we just got the iPads back working. That was a trip, because I consciously went into the Matrix. This is why we have all these connections. Oh, it's 12:12. That's why we have all these new connections as we walk through right here that won't stick to you. That you'll see wanted to pull you into like a Google perspective, wanted to pull you into like a this perspective, wanted to pull you to, but it won't stick for you, but it'll still show up. And those are what's funny, because pay attention to what shows up to come invite you. Because if the Illuminati shows up and asks you to come to dinner, then just realize, even though you know your answer is no, somewhere in your line or in your energy of how you were made was connected to that. Okay, cool. Just now you know. But that type stuff, that'd be an example. That'd be an example. Okay. That's done. That's done. And for some reason, I pulled out my chart to show y'all. Thank y'all for still being here. It's been a little over an hour. It is Friday, Venus Day, and I'm on here blabbing, teaching you about astronomy. 1213, that's 333. This is my crazy October 7th chart. Now, the reason I'm even showing you this is because October 7th is now taking on its own little storyline, has it not? It's like when you think of October 7th now what do you think of? The bombing starting in Israel. That's why. This October 7th chart, 1972. This one's 1972. But October 7th, just period dot. The birthday, and anybody that you know that's born on October 7th, because there's a bunch of us now. Because it was hooked into what I would call the femme fatale spy chicken pig network of Russian programming and manipulation. just like in Black Widow. Just like in Black Widow. Putin is on October 7th. I'm October 7th. Thing is, I'm not even sure I am because of my whole crazy adoption. Per my rebirthing story and walking out and everywhere I had to go, October 5th, I feel, is like when I was born. And then, at least in one dimension, and then it had something to do with California and a convent in one timeline. And then I ended up in Bryan, Texas. My paperwork says October 7th, 1972, which is what this is based off of. It's so, and it's also like the original. See, because you know how there's these hive minds, and we talk about these hive mind networks, and even the ability to get one frequency out to a couple and then have everyone affected. Okay, that was developed in the human race as a manipulation. Even whenever Izar, that energy of Izar. Which my Mercury is on. Izar and that whole Alpha Draconic Arcturus energy, I know in some way was also made and involved with the manipulation of the human body population by the Tsar when he died suddenly. They basically used the Tsar and the Tsar's consciousness and mind and connections to build this network energetically in the cosmos, and I think in the physical laboratory way or something like that. This is why the 4 princesses were killed and shelled and put in the ground. That's oil. Like, this is that whole thing, but it was all about Russia, because Russia had a lineage and London and England had a lineage. The London England lineages that connected into the Holland lineages and more the European stuff, and how those all came through all were counts of 3s. Everything happened in 3s. When you get to the marriage of Alexandria and Nikolai is a big deal, because that changed a lot, because those 2 lines came together. The Tsar dies, Alexandria, and enter Rasmussen. You know, it was all written to happen, but this is when they came into Russia to do all that and take over those 2. Why? Because of the children and the energy that those children birth, because it's no longer a Russian line that's going to take control, or take command of the human race. It's no longer a London line, and no longer can Russia just control from London if those kids survive. Because then those children will end up, no matter if they are doing it or not, they'll energetically dominate them. That's crazy. We just went off on that freaking little thing. But exactly. See, I'm explaining even when all that started coming in, as we were putting because we, even as a collective, brought that whole story back into the timeline, because everybody had forgot about the princesses and Rasmussen. And then you go back and go look up Rasmussen. It's a trip. I'm going to put this down a minute, and I'm going to shuffle these. These are my makeshift cards. We've got House of Kochi. We've got House of Virgo up and House of Libra. Go check it out. Cohue32.com. I've got to adjust a couple of things on there. But go check out the energies, go check out the vibe of the blankets and pillows, and just, but check out the energy. Go read what they do. Go and that's it. Just go look at it. It helps in, because the way that we're designing those houses energetically is what energetically that house does. And right now, that Libra energy, go check out House of Libra. Just go look at those colors and go read about it. Even if you don't want to buy nothing, that's fine. Maybe later on somebody will come in your life that definitely needs a chi puff in their life. Okay, but we're going to be doing cards right after that. Those will be the house cards. We're working on the Scorpio energy right now. And it's always nuts in our world because we created with all these energies from the beginning with the blood. So whenever we go changing and manipulating and moving lines and making currents. So we're working on Scorpio right now. We just got the pieces, 5 degrees Scorpio. So now I'm gonna start merging and creating some stuff. Scorpio 1's fixing to get separated from Scorpio 2, and each one's going to have to come in Sag on their own energetic. So in our little world, and in the cosmic ascended energies and alchemy stages, that is where we're at right now as a collective. What I just said. Okay, interesting. I had quite a few come out, but they came out like this. So I feel like, and I just colored these. The cards, of course, have it all digital, and that's why I think I pulled these out, because I had written these up in 2022. I might want to change stuff now. Sirius C upside down. 11 upside down. Sirius C, soul connections. Basically the current of the Syrian energy. Mars is in B right now. Sirius C is the soul. B is the mind. Upside down. Aldebaran, Royal Star, Archangel Michael. This is 12. This is dead on 9 degrees Gemini. Archangel Michael, opposite Antares, New Earth consciousness. Don't climb the mountain, move the mountain. Remember, take care of you in order to take care of the rest. You're connected to all archangels. I look for the highest energetic solution in all things. Say it. I look for the highest energetic solution in all things. These number codes out here, that's Gemini. Purple and yellow. Mauve and mustard. Mauve and pale yellow. This is serious numbers in code. Okay. And phonetics number system. So 115, 25, and then also what's popping out over here is raw consciousness. That's 12 to 16 degrees of Gemini. This is right on the other. We got 5 and 6. We got 5 and 6. This is more of a higher energy current that takes you into this lower energy current, but this one's connected into etheric bodies and the changing and the evolution of bodies and the processing in the middle, whether or not you know that it's happening or not, it is. And it's Egyptian root race, Terra Ma'at, Ra princes and princesses connected to earth elements and stories that wielded the power of them. From history we learn, feminine, don't worship, become, embody. And then how can you alchemize the issue and right the earth? How can you alchemize the issue through? And with the earth and ancestors, guide me to the roots. Because it's getting down to the bottom of it. But Etherically from a Sagittarius projection, and from that that shadow current that's a feminine from the birthing process of it all, that shadow piece of it, the microsity of it, and what was involved to make it. All right, so this one came out with it, so I'm gonna flip this. Ah, Thuban. I feel like I'm playing a weird version of blackjack. Oh, look. Oh, look. We got 5, 6. Over here, 11. Broke up. And then over here, 15. So that's also 1, 1, 1. So that's literally 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, or 66. Oh, this is also a sign for a girl. I just did your chart. I just did your digi chart. When you see this, you 369 girl, you 3 girl, here's a 66. So it's that energetic, that raw, this is Rajal. This is Alpha Draconic energetic. Goes all the way down to the root in the system, and then in the cave, like down here, it has a connection, and then it's connected. It literally is. It's connected to Thuban. This is in Virgo. It's the black hole, but it's 5 to 9 degrees Virgo. Remember I was talking about 5, 9 degrees Leo? Yep. That 5 to 9 got messed up. You mess it up on one house, it's going to mess it up on all of them. This is a black hole connected to beings in space over 300 million light years away. How do you receive your messages? Internal connections may need to move opposite on some things. Density and darkness. So that's literally a black hole. That's the one we blew out the bottom of. It's in Virgo, but it's an echo chamber, just like that hole I was talking about. You know, that's what the sun's coming out. Everyone's starting to see the cylinder that was above you or below you, or you're starting to see an opening up bigger above you, whether it's coming in through the sun, the moon, a star's blinking out of control, maybe a ship will show up, I don't know, like each one of you, but no matter, you're having some type of experience like that, because it's you're connecting and pulling up and seeing it somehow with the sun moving through the way the whole thing's set up right now to pull everyone out. But whenever you jump from the highest energetic of, because we got this collective soul energy, because like this is how we did it this time. Like it's coming through a whole purification process. It's not stopping at flower. It's like it's going all the way each time from a full flower to nothing, to digital currents, to pieces of the remembrance of it where it was before, and it's just popping back in, and then it's doing it again, or it's completely done, and then it merges with something else, and it comes back a different flower, and some of you might even turn into a beanstalk in a way. Like, it just energetically depends on what your particular little brew is energetically, and how balanced you are too within your feminine and masculine. But that would be describing the soul of it, because like this was the soul journey that we walked through the blood to get everybody out of the black hole and close and seal this mofo up. Thuban, royal house of the Alpha Draconics, also the dragon. Because whenever you really even start understanding about the dragons and how the hell this all started, and the da-da-na-na-na, oh my goodness Lord. Like really, no wonder they... And then flipped over here, I have Orion Hyades, which... that's the beginning degrees of Gemini. It's 3 to 5 degrees Gemini dead on. And you'd consider this energy hell. The light is like a firefly running into a cave getting sealed up. clearing density. Takes a powerful angel. That's why you're there. Just realize that's what you're doing. Oh, I just need to push all my energy out through all my cells and freaking fill up the room and like let the pieces fall. Bring it on. Let's do it. That's all I got to do. All I got to do is get comfortable and freaking know that if I'm a healer and this is my family, then they're around because I have to start with them first. Oh, fuck. Okay, whatever. I've got to feel my parents first before I can. Fine. I'll sit here for a year and do it. Oh shit, me doing that, then sent out currents to all the military mindset, which helped me push over and take over the Izar for the collective line from the baby boomer generation, because Lord, we found out a ton about that side of the family. And doing that, you see what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Alchemy is the key. Shine out of the low density. Connect to number 23, Ophiuchus 1, which is the opposite. The opposite of this energy. You're hitting Sagittarius. You're hitting elemental Ma'at. Connecting to that Ma'at, Tiamat energetic, that cosmic energy. Connect with that. I was messing around doing. This is also Elohim, fallen, you'd call them fallen angels. But it's just denser energy and lighter the being, the more the friction. That's why when Lucifer fell into that area of density, that's why over time it ended up becoming something so dense. But it was just a gridded down light. Then it created, over time it created pockets of it even below that energetic. But it was just the lightest light coming into the densest density into a pure form, creates it all. And we have the upside down present reset. So, but it was upside down. And this one is stop moving. See, we just did. This is what we just turned. We aligned. We aligned and noticed one. Now it's moving. We had to stop moving. We had to align. Every detail mattered. Every tone produced a change. You're in the eye. Where are you at? Do you need to steer? You're in the eye. All you got to do to stay in the eye is stay in your authentic frequency. Whatever that is for you in this now. That's it. Now, this was upside down. And I just said with this one, you may need to do things a little bit different. You may need to do the opposite of things. Because remember, you were programmed into a certain current. Not good or bad. You were just programmed into a certain current. Just remember that it's that same body control mechanism that the rat has getting the cheese, or the cat if you put the medication on the thing or the bacon on the thing and it zaps them, but it wants the food. Your body has to get unprogrammed from going a certain direction. Your intuition in the densest energy that you're used to being in is to hurry up and go now, because in the lower energies there's always a rush to it. Now that's fine, because in certain times you need to be in that energy, and if you're clearing shadow stuff, right, like there's different energetics of that. But you'll get to a point to where eventually this energy is so merged that it's like you're picking up residue of someone else coming through it. And it's like you get the message, okay, you're gonna need to go soon. You get the message, this is lining up. Be prepared in a few days to, that's more what the message is. And instead of when we were in that lower energy, go now, go now, go now. And then you always have the decision to change, and things can maneuver from there, because everything's changing. It's coming out of of a black hole vortex that's just going out to the universes with without any barrier on it to push it back down on you quicker, to manifest quicker. Everything's starting to manifest freaking quicker. Quick, 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 quick. Oh, and Vega. See, these are maroon and white. I didn't have a maroon crayon. These two right here are the lowest density in the whole wheel. And this is the body that picks it up. And this is the soul of a water connection, like the Essene version, even into the Yahshua version, into the masses. It's like it's plugged in right here. And even we freed all the angels from hell and from Los Angeles. And that whole freaking mermaid, because there was like an etheric mermaid system, the way we would all in a group kind of, we'd all basically kind of coagulate, and in the hires, that's how they'd see us, like a little, like an amoeba, like that, like the thing showing up over Antarctica. Like that. They see us all kind of congregating like that. But the way the whole thing was set up, like with Hoover Dam and all the black magic that they did on all the ancient deities in order to hold us into hell, to make us Helena, and no. I mean, they wanted us to produce those underworlds. I mean, shit, they did everything in their power to try to bring us in and make us queen of their underworld this round. Did they not? Did they not? I mean, that is why they stole everything and cut off all of our connections, because they wanted us to come crying back to them and begging them to become part of whatever the F balls, because they always wanted our power to begin with. And they knew it was running out. Present reset, upside down. Let's see what's at the bottom. Oh, Lyra 3, and we've had a bunch. No, Spica. Oh. Number 19, Spica. Orange. It's actually orange and purple. I originally had it as, these are my very first deck that I did with the, this is Spica. And that's basically the pure, like this collective pure heart energy from the soul and the heart and Sirius, like all the energy of Sirius A, B, and C merged together, making a heart frequency, hits you in death. Basically, it even kind of, from physics, it's that string theory is involved with this energy and Sirius, not just Sirius C, but this is the soul connection. Pure source energy, heart frequency of Arcturus, connected to Puritans and the beings burned in the witch trials. So basically, it's like the pure soul of things. This is where a lot of us that were biblical characters or Kabbalah characters, you know, like in the holy books, because a lot of us were just walking out different Bible things because of what we were named and the energy that was backing us and shit like that, even though we didn't know. You're like the stigmata. It's like in these different energies at the higher ones, you kind of don't even have a body. It's more like you embody the book of something. Like, I know that for a while, because of all the spell work that was being done on the collective, and because I was also mastering the shadow and with the collective to clear all this crazy ass crap, that I embodied the book of shadows in a lot of ways. But it was my energy was the book of shadows manifest, not all the ingredients. Like, they thought that whenever they took over my orb and they freaking did whatever they did to me, that then they were going to get all this data on all this spells and stuff, which I don't even hold in my energy. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It's more like what was made from it energetically is what always shows up to them because they're the ones making it. So that's why it shows up. Speak of energy. And it's pure it's prophetic words. It's a pure vibration. You're making a pure tone. When you speak, it changes the vibration of the reality. It sets a scene, ESSENE. It sets a scene in to change things. That's why you're the prophet. But it's not just it's how you're connected into the Essenes, the other group coming from Cancer, connected into the Sagittarian cosmic sources that even helped produce them to begin with for this. Everybody that's in that Essene energy will line up energetically. It starts their path. Will we call in for that to happen now? I've been calling it divine connection, so I know what that means. So 1241 161 on a 77, I call in for all reset missions. First steps to go out within all lines and to connect. From pure source. And I got Beltagese freaking over here. I got 8 upside down peeking around, but that Beltagese is just the original Neanderthal program, setting everybody in that old archetype. Beltagese is peeking over there. Stigmata carrying the cross, exactly. Y'all let me know if you like the cards. That's what's coming. We've got to finish these. We've got to finish the energies of the houses. We're doing the home good stuff as we go, and then the deck of cards will have all of these. I didn't know. I don't think I'm going to include these right now, but then you're going to have a house card. You're going to have a house card with basically the posters that you'll see in each of the Kochi house decor, the designs. And then you'll be able to bring some of that, depending, get card, because this is why you're getting aligned. You're getting aligned right now because you're going to be able to read. So your life is a living tarot card right now. The universe is lining it up. These are just energetic ways for you to understand when you're seeing certain colors or numbers or energetics and knowing how what your alignment is. It's helping you figure out what's going on. You get home from work, you've had a crazy fucking day, some weird ass shit with that. Who was that client that called? Like, what was that? That was the most random freaking phone call I have ever had. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. It all ended so quickly. Why the fuck did that show up in my reality? Come get your cards. It'll give you some type of idea. It'll give you some type of idea. But those will be coming by Christmas, like probably in November. We'll be finalizing stuff on that because that's our final thing, and then we get to let it ride for a minute and just market and get the word out and yada yada yada. I was given a suitcase. It was a color pattern of your colors. See, y'all. Look. Cohue 32 is just the higher template starseed architects and templates. So it's in your inner, I just put it together and remembered it and channeled it as I was coming through it, utilizing it. Literally. These names, I know over time, are even going to change. I mean, and please, y'all, Orion, tell me, please, what is Microsoft calling his new big ass contraption, whatever, that's Orion, exactly. It's all right in front of your face. Technology is stars. You are the computer. You are the avatar. And this is what I was getting last night too, like big time right now, because I'm gonna close up because I've been on here a while. I know some of y'all hate long messages, and some of you just love to turn me on in the background and like listen, because you know I'm sending out frequency and all types of stuff. we're given and given in different energies. Because if it weren't for all of y'all on here, then I wouldn't be able in the energetics. That's how I was able to get and channel all of it, was to go through stages where different groups were coming in and I was merging with different energies and yada, 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 yada. Why did I originally do this? Why did I fan these out? I just went on a little tangent. Oh, thank you. Now I don't even remember what I was talking about. This helps me get in my frequency because I'm here as a messenger for all of this. As like, for me, for a level of me, it's like I'm just waiting to get in all the freaking rooms I'm supposed to be in so I can get all these key players their information so I can freaking forget about it and get on with just utilizing it. For the first time, that's what we're having to do as a collective, is utilize our abilities for mass projection. And the leaders of us now are starting to finally come together and see that that's how it has to happen. But I mean, that's even how the Masons do it. I mean, I can describe to you how they make a company corporate. But a lot of us are stepping into our own creations, and let me tell you, stepping into your own creation feels like you're getting attacked from like every angle possible, like energetically all at once. And that might even be the dizzy spells that a lot of us have been having, and even another key being on this journey with me from the body side and all this Phoenix 0 point energy stuff with the body. She's been getting, real dizzy spells, and so she wrote me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, me and the other AB negative, we had that shit a few days ago. It's like you felt like your whole body was getting pixelated all at once if you're by yourself. But even if you're dealing with like seeing you're interacting, because before you step into your own creation, there'll be periods where you interact with yourself in another dimensional way that will trigger the shit out of you. But it's a specific energetic. It's going to feel like in some way, but you won't have a word to put on it. The only word that you have to put on it is something that you've already dealt with, which was probably be like witch, vampire. That's that fucking da-na-na energy. But a lot of it feels like that. But if you really tune into it, it's because you can't describe it. A lot of that is stepping into you're like, you sent that person to freaking interfere because it needed to be done. So you're literally dealing with yourself on another dimension, sent by yourself to change your course. Stuff like that will, that energetic will all, you'll notice that you'll have a series of that start happening before you completely step into your own creation, because that, this is where you become nothing and everything. So that part is happening as like as we walk through the next 7 days on this Libra sun, because remember what's opposite Aries. So it's like literally this is in now. It's like this gun, it didn't shoot. It more like stuck, and it like formed a tube and shot through there. And it's like now Libra, okay? The sun in Libra, and if you haven't noticed, the Venus in Scorpio are moving in synchronicity. They're moving together into the different degrees. They just, now they're both in 5. It's freaking crazy. Well, what's Venus? Sun, literally. It's literally like the Arcturian sun. Arcturus would be the source sun, and Venus is moving. This is all involved with moving your the M suns, and basically a higher, the human race is now getting a wider expansion from source energy that's lining up those suns, and the M sun setting on the collective is changing because each one is an expanded M sun, like it expands. That's with the different timelines. But there's three variations that will set across the collective when it's all done. Kind of, we'll be able to tell kind of what time counts everyone's in, 3 different ones, in order to help them the next 7 years. But that's all kind of forming right now as we're bridging and collecting it in, and it's changing. But those sun settings are changing, which is the other reason that all of a sudden you might get a head rush or whatever, because it's like that source energy lined up over your sun, because it's widening it to, and it shines brighter, then it hits another set of M sun connections. Well, the 2 moons was definitely a sign that we're hitting an M sun connection. And see, I don't know, because this is where collectively it can just jump, because the way it's all set up. I don't even know exactly where we were at. I know that I had one leg on M2. I know that. And M2 was the solar, and M1 and M2 and 3 were Orion. And I know where they kind of start with Libra and go all the way down into Cancer, and then all this, but everything was carved up in the middle. And then you get to Aquarius even on that right side, but in the middle, not on the outside, right? And this is like where you talk about on the dark side and the merging of all that now into a bigger orb, because we had to clear that. But all that's changing because our divine collective that came in and restored, took all and made, basically we took all their gifts and powers away and merged them all up into one, and are holding a field. But it's what we were all designed to do. Now we're learning. We're also gonna, as we're because this next 7 days is like, pay attention to what you're seeing in propaganda stuff, and what you're noticing, and what's coming up in your reality as far as news and stuff like that, because that's a good indicator of what you're changing, and you have the ability to change. Because it's just clearing through something that was there. This is also where in these Libra sun, those energies, their timelines. So this is where something might happen to someone around you, good or bad, but it doesn't happen to you, good or bad. Or it does happen to you. If it does, then there's some gift, you know, because you've completed it and now there's some gifts that you're picking up right now. But the first few conscious rounds through these Libra time things, you're basically you're just trying to get through you're just trying to stay connected from notice one to the scale without getting fracked. You know, your second round around it energetically, whatever's moving through, then you're starting to cause the current. You know, right now what's happening is our entire collective is moving through, and we've changed the overall frequency of it so that you can see the strings and the magic. That part. And then when we get up to the scales, which is around the beginning degrees of October, it's like when October 1 hits, we have changed October energetics. Nothing that they're trying to do in October is gonna fucking set. Nothing. It I can't wait to see what happens. They don't have the collective energy. They don't have the collective eyes. They don't, even if they have everyone in the world staring at it, but they're all vaccinated, it just causes static and it backfires. Like the physics they don't have the skull and bones. They don't have the connections that they needed. We're all out of the system. And our entire DNA lines are coming out because we got out. But it's in stages. You're seeing my got turquoise up there too. Yellow and turquoise. That's Algorab. That's the scale. All right, guys. 2 hours. I'm out of here. 126. I love y'all. I'll be back.